In 3 separate instances, 3 individuals, Stephen, Jennifer, and Dale Castetto, vanished into the unknown. While Stephen and Jennifer's disappearances were caught on home security cameras, Dale's last known whereabouts were at his job as a weekend security guard. Despite extensive investigations, the whereabouts of all 3 remain unknown, and the circumstances surrounding their vanishings are shrouded in mystery and speculation. The footage captured by the cameras offers only glimpses into what might have happened, but leave far more questions than answers. As the clock ticks, the mystery deepens, leaving behind more questions than answers. A silent witness to their final moments. The cameras hold the key to unlocking the truth, but only if someone can decipher the code. Who were Stephen, Jennifer, and Dale, and what led to their mysterious disappearances? Let's begin. Jennifer Cassie. Days before Jennifer Cassie vanished into thin air, she was on a romantic vacation with her boyfriend in the mystical and exotic Virgin Islands. But as soon as she returned, she was immediately back to her routine, working her first day after her vacation and arriving home around 6 p.m, just as she always did. In the evening, she made several calls to family and friends, including a last call to her boyfriend around 10 p.m. But this call was the final one. From that point, Jennifer was never seen or heard from again. The next morning, Jennifer was supposed to head to work once more, but she never made it. Despite her punctuality, she never arrived at the workplace. Her boyfriend, Rob, who was used to calling her on the way to work, tried to reach her but received no answer. After a 9 a.m. meeting at work, he tried again but still no answer. Rob began to feel a sense of uneasiness as this behavior was completely out of character for Jennifer. When Jennifer failed to show up for work, her colleagues became worried and tried to reach her, but to no avail. The management then contacted her parents, who lived an hour and a half away, and informed them of their daughter's absence. The parents rushed to her apartment to check on her and found it empty, with a few work items on the bed. A wet towel, a hairdryer, and toiletries left in the sink. Jennifer's car was missing from the parking lot, and there were no signs of forced entry into the apartment or a struggle. But her wallet, keys, cell phone, and iPod were nowhere to be found. Jennifer's family claimed to have found a mysterious man's sweatshirt in their laundry basket, but for some unknown reason, the police never tested it for DNA. Despite tracking her credit card and pinging her phone, no activity was found, and Jennifer seemed to have vanished without a trace. However, a few days later, something strange occurred that left everyone stumped. A black Chevrolet Malibu, which belonged to the missing Jennifer, was found in the parking lot of an abandoned building a few miles away from her residence. The police confiscated CCTV footage which showed an unknown person parking Jennifer's car in an apartment complex located just 2 kilometers from her home. The person got out of the car and went into an unknown direction, captured by another surveillance camera. But in a strange twist of fate, the man's face was not visible in any of the 3 frames taken by the camera, which recorded at a frequency of 1 frame per second. It was as if the man was protected by an unforeseen force, shielding his identity from the world. The interior of the abandoned car revealed no signs of blood or struggle, but Jennifer's DVD player was found in the back seat and the front seat was pushed far back, which was not how Jennifer typically drove. The police dog immediately picked up her scent and led the investigators from the car right to the door of her apartment. But her path did not lead through the main entrance, but instead through a fence at the back of the residential complex. Over 1,500 people were involved in a search for Jennifer, combing the surrounding area, the forest behind the residential complex, and the area near the abandoned car. But despite their best efforts, no clues or evidence was found. In May 2007, Jennifer's company offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to her return, but even this could not uncover the truth. To this day, the mystery of Jennifer Cassie's disappearance remains unsolved, shrouded in a veil of secrecy and speculation. Was she abducted by an unknown entity? Did she disappear of her own accord? It is likely we will never know. Number 2. Stephen Koch. Stephen Koch was a man with a mystery. On December 13th, 2009, he vanished into thin air under strange circumstances. In the days leading up to his disappearance, he made several unusual road trips and visited places he had no real reason to be. But the truth behind the events of that ominous day remains shrouded in secrecy. According to the footage, Stephen's car was recorded on Savannah Springs Avenue in Sun City, a retirement community within the Anthem development located in southern Henderson. The recording took place at 11:54 a.m., and the car was later found parked in the same location. At noon, a figure believed to be Stephen was seen walking in the opposite direction down the sidewalk, carrying something in one hand. This figure was captured on another security camera located in a garage on adjacent Evening Light Street. In the footage, Stephen is seen walking north. His reflection captured on the garage's security camera. Since that day, Stephen has not been seen and his whereabouts remain unknown. The last time anyone saw Stephen was when he rang a neighbor's doorbell asking for money. For the first time ever, the neighbor is publicly speaking about their conversation and what they remember Stephen saying. They remember him asking for money and telling them that there was no walkway on the other side. The neighbor shut the door, and that was the last they saw of Stephen. Private investigators believe that this conversation may have led to a fatal mistake. They think Stephen went to the wrong house, asking for money, and that resulted in his disappearance. The police report indicates that officers interviewed one neighbor who appeared nervous during the questioning. Another neighbor told police that someone had moved out of the neighborhood on the same day that Stephen disappeared. The private investigators obtained photos from a home in the neighborhood, which showed holes in the walls and other damage. Could this be where Stephen went to in his last moments? The disappearance of Stephen Koch remains a mystery to this day, with no new clues into what happened to him. But a team from Utah-based Eyes on Private Investigations is still working to find answers. What happened to Stephen on that fateful day? Was it a fatal mistake or something more sinister? The mystery continues to haunt and puzzle those who knew him. Number 3. Dale Castetto. Saturday, September 12th, 1987. It was a typical workday for Dale Castetto, a 50-year-old security guard and maintenance man at the Corning Glassworks plant in Bradford, Pennsylvania. The fateful night of Dale Castetto's disappearance began like any other, with him taking on the role of the weekend security guard at the plant. But as the night progressed, a theft occurred, resulting in the disappearance of $250,000 worth of platinum pipe. And along with the stolen precious metal, Dale also vanished without a trace. Dale's son, Al, remembered him as a compassionate man who was loved by his family and respected by his employer. On Sunday morning, when security guard John Lindquist arrived at the plant, he expected to find Dale waiting to be relieved. Instead, he found Dale's lunch pail on the table, with his keys and a newspaper next to it, but no sign of Dale. Later that morning, Dale's truck was found in the plant parking lot with his keys still in the ignition and a full carton of cigarettes, an empty gun holster, and his day pack left behind. The sheriff's canine unit tracked Dale's movements to the second floor where the plant's glass furnace, also known as the tank, containing the valuable platinum pipe was located. However, Dale was nowhere to be found in the building. The investigation then focused on the 3 security cameras that monitored the factory. Personnel manager Patrick Foley was alarmed by what the cameras had recorded, showing a masked man in the back of the plant and in the tank area. The authorities remained unsure whether Dale was an unwilling participant or a conspirator in the theft. However, Patrick Foley believes that Dale was flaunting the crime in front of the cameras. As the investigation continues, a number of suspects have emerged. Despite the lack of description of the masked intruder, most evidence points to the fact that the thief was a male. However, the question of whether Dale was involved in the theft remains unanswered. The evidence is conflicting, with some pointing to the intruder's apparent knowledge of the plant, while others indicate the intruder was unfamiliar with the setup. Dale's family and friends vehemently deny his involvement in the crime. They believe that he stumbled upon the intruder and was overpowered, possibly with a gun to his back. They also point out that he had packed a lunch and left his cigarettes behind, indicating that he had no intention of being involved in the theft. However, Dale's employers have a different story. They suspect that he was involved in the crime, flaunting his crime by looking directly into the security cameras. They believed he was motivated by financial difficulties, having been cut from a program at work and being in debt. One of Dale's friends became a suspect in the investigation. Despite having an ample amount of money on hand, he had no clear explanation of how he obtained it. Police and the FBI questioned him, but later ruled him out as a suspect. Penny later reached out to him and he told her about overhearing an employee named Ollie discussing with Dale about stealing platinum from the plant. The friend believed that Ollie double-crossed Dale and killed him, dumping his body down a gas well. However, no evidence was found to support this theory. Another suspect was a former co-worker of Dale's who had been fired for theft a month prior to his disappearance. It is unclear if he was interviewed by the police after the theft. Platinum dealers were also interviewed, but it is unknown if any leads came from that. Inspector Max J. Bizak of the Pennsylvania State Police determined through their investigation that Dale was approximately $30,000 to $40,000 in arrears on various payments, leading to the possibility of the heist being premeditated. 27 years later, the case of Dale Castetto remains a mystery. Was he involved in the theft, or was he merely a pawn in a larger game? The masked intruder remains a ghost, their identity unknown. The stolen platinum, like a whisper in the wind, has vanished without a trace. The questions linger, the evidence points in multiple directions, and the truth remains just out of reach. One thing is for sure, in the dark corners of this case, someone knows the answers, and until they come forward, the mystery of Dale Castetto's disappearance will continue to haunt those who know him. The disappearance of Stephen and Jennifer, much like that of Dale Castetto, remains an enigma shrouded in mystery. Despite thorough investigations and tireless searches, no conclusive evidence has emerged. The few clues discovered only provide fragmented insights into the events surrounding their vanishings, leaving more questions than answers. As the years go by, the search for the truth becomes increasingly elusive, but the families and communities affected by these mysteries refuse to give up. The truth of what happened to Stephen, Jennifer, and Dale may forever remain a mystery, but the riddle of their disappearances continue to grip those determined to uncover the truth, haunting and captivating people with each passing day.